I got glasses on. I wear glasses now, I guess, because I cannot see a lot of things. But you'll see me sometimes not wearing. Anyways, we're gonna read a story named My Brother Martin. So this story is about a black American who lives in America and had trouble leaving because they were having trouble because everybody was bullying them and stuff like that. But then one of her brothers became, let me show you a picture of him. He turned the world upside down there. So this is his picture right here. You'll so he is saying some speeches about why black American can now have to not be punished because of their skin, because they don't even want to be that color, or they even if they want to, it's just the same person. It's people are just the same. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. So he's doing like that. So for me, this story was very emotional because it taught me how they must have felt back in the day and how they were treated, and I felt really sorry for them. So if you guys anyways, so let's get on with the video. Woo! My brother Martin. We were born in the same room, my brother Martin and I. I was an early born baby sooner than expected. Mother dear and Daddy placed me in a cliffable drawer that stood in the corner of their upstairs bedroom. I got a crib a few days afterwards. A year and a half later, Martin spent his first night in the hand-me-down crib in the very same room. The house where we were born belonged to our mother dear parents, our grandparents, the Revered Mrs. A.D. Williams. We lived there with them and our Aunt Ida, our grandmother's sister. And not long after, my brother Martin, who was called M.L., because he and Daddy had the same name, our baby brother was born. His name was Alfred Daniel, but we called him A.D. after our grandfather. They called me Christine, and like 3 peas in one pod, we grew together. Our days and rooms were filled with adventure stories and tinker toys with dolls and Monopoly and Chinese checkers. And although Daddy, who was an important minister, and Mother dear, who was known far and wide as a musician, often had work that took them away from home, our grandmother was always there to take care of us. I remember days sitting at our feet as she and Aunt Ida filled us with grand memories of their childhood and read to us about the wonderful places in the world. And of course, my brother and I had each other. We three stuck together like pages in a brand new book. And being normal young children, we were always up to something. Our best prank involved a fur piece that belonged to our grandmother. It looked almost alive with its tiny feet and little head and glimmering glass eyes. So every once in a while, in the waning light of evening, we tied that fur piece into a stick and hiding behind the hedge in front of our house, we would dangle it in front of an unsuspecting passersby. Boy, you could hear the screams of fright all across the neighborhood. Then there was the time Mother dear decided that her children should all learn to play piano. I didn't mind too much, but ML and AD preferred being outside to being stuck inside with our piano teacher, Mr. Mann, who would rap your knuckles with a ruler just for playing the wrong notes. Well, one morning, ML and AD decided to loosen the legs of the piano bench so we wouldn't have to practice. We didn't tell Mr. Mann, and when he sat, that crash down he went. But mostly we were good, obedient children, and ML did learn to play a few songs on the piano. He even went off to sing with our mother a time or two. Given his love for singing and music, I'm sure he could have become as good as a musician as our mother had his life not called him down different paths. But that's just what his life did. My brothers and I grew up a long time ago. Back in a time when certain places in our country had unfair laws that said it was right to keep black people separate because our skin was darker, and our ancestors had been captured in far off Africa and brought to America as slaves. Atlanta, Georgia, the city in which we were growing up, had those laws. Because of those laws, my family rarely went to the picture shows and visited Grant Park with its cycloma. In fact, to this very day, I don't recall ever seeing my father on a streetcar. Because of those laws and the indignity that went with them, Daddy preferred keeping ML, AD, and me close to home where we'd be protected. We live in a neighborhood in Atlanta that's now called Sweet Auburn. It was named for Auburn Avenue, the street that ran in front of our house. On our side of the street stood two-story frame houses similar to the ones we live in. Across it crunched a line of one-story row houses and a store owned by a white family. When we were young, all the children along our Auburn Avenue played together, even the two boys whose parents owned the store. And since our house was a favorite gathering place, those boys played with us in our backyard and ran with ML and AD to the firehouse on the corner where they watched the engines and the firemen. The thought of not playing with those kids because they were different, because they were white and we were black, never entered our minds. Well, one day, ML and AD went off to get playmates from across the street just as they had done 100 times before, but they came all home alone. The boys had told my brothers that they couldn't play together anymore because AD and ML were Negroes. And that was it. Shortly afterward, the family sold the house and moved away. We never saw or heard from them again. Looking back, I realized that it was only a matter of time before the generation of curiosity and injustice that Daddy and Mother Dear and Mama and Aunt Aya had been shielding us from finally broke through. But back then it was a crushing blow that seemed to come out of nowhere. Why do white people treat colored people so mean? Emily asked Mother Dear afterwards. And with me and ML and AD standing in front of her, trying our best to understand, Mother Dear gave the reason behind it all. Her words explained the streetcars our family avoided and the whites' only sign that kept us off the elevator at City Hall. Her words told why there were parks and museums that black people could not visit, and why some restaurants refused to serve us, and why hotels wouldn't give us rooms, and why theaters would only allow us to watch their picture shows from the balcony. But her words also gave us hope. She answered simply, because they just don't understand that everyone is just the same. But someday it will be better. And my brother Emil looked up into our mother's face and said the words I remember to this day. He said, Mother dear, one day I'm gonna turn this world upside down. In the coming years, there will be other reminders of the cruel system called segregation that sought to keep black people down. But it was Daddy who showed ML and AD and me how to speak out against hatred and bigotry and stand up for what's right. Daddy was a minister at Ebenezer Baptist Church. And after losing our playmates, when ML, AD, and I heard our father speak from the pulpit, his world held new meaning. And Daddy practiced what he preached. He always stood up for himself when confronted with hatred and bigotry. And each day he shared his encounters at dinner table. When a shoe salesman told Daddy and ML that he'd only serve them in the back of the store because they were black, Daddy took ML somewhere else to buy new shoes. Another time, a police officer pulled Daddy over and called him boy. Daddy pointed to ML sitting next to him in the car and said, "This is a boy. I'm a man, and until you call me one, I will not listen to you." These stories were as nourishing as the food that was set before us. Years would pass and many new lessons would be learned. There will be numerous speeches and marches and prizes. But my brother never forgot the example of our father, or the promise he had made to our mother on the day his friend turned him away. And when he was much older, my brother Emil dreamed a dream that would turn the world upside down.
Okay guys, so as you guys already saw the video, if you guys already saw it, then good. So as I already told you, if you understand the story, you would feel very bad for them and you would feel so sad and so sorry. But it showed me how people struggle. I don't know, it was really emotional and I really like his story. So now for my favorite part was, wait, let me just search real quick. Okay guys, so I found it. So it's this part where, so Mr. Man who fell down the chair, his face is like so funny. Oh my gosh, look at his face. He looks like he's just gonna cry right there and just quit. I know it's serious or something, but it's kind of funny how they do it. So for me, that was my favorite. Oh yeah, there's also one part of my favorite part where this girl, the main character in this thing, I don't know if, look at her belly. What is this? I have no idea what that is, but I was just like going on the story. So anyways, I really like the story. If you also do it, if you also did, then don't forget to leave a comment down below if you like this story or not. Anyways, I'll see you next time and have a great day. Bye.